What's good, everybody? It's Robo back with another video, and today I've got my college football playoff bracket prediction. I'm making this video right after the final results of all the championship games Saturday night, and the selection show is Sunday morning at noon, but I really wanted to get my thoughts on the rankings out there prior to going over the official matchups later on. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into it, starting at the top. At the top, number one overall seed is going to be the champion of the Big Ten, the Oregon Ducks. A 13-0 record on the year with wins over 3 playoff teams in Ohio State, Boise State, and now Penn State is as good as it gets in college football this season, and this team is absolutely deserving of this spot. They'll be taking on the winner of the 8-9 game, which I'll get into later on, but again, the top overall seed this season is going to be Dan Lanning's Oregon Ducks. The number 2 overall seed will go to the SEC champs, the Georgia Bulldogs. It's been a wild year for Georgia with losses to Alabama and Ole Miss, near losses to Kentucky and Georgia Tech, but 2 signature wins over Texas and another 2 overall playoff teams in Tennessee and Clemson to sealing up their number 2 spot. Carson Beck's health will be a big focal point of the playoffs, but depending on what that injury is, he's got some time off now with that bye week, and this Georgia team still has the talent to win it all when they get rolling, so I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do in these year's playoffs. Now on to the number 3 seed. I think they end up giving it to the Big 12 champion Arizona State Sun Devils. This could definitely be Boise State here, but the way they won over Iowa State was unbelievably impressive this week, and they've got a slight advantage in both strength of schedule and resume despite the extra loss. Cam Scatterboo has been an absolute wrecking ball, and no one's going to want to try and defend him in that second round. But as a 3 seed, they'll get the winner of the 6-11 matchup, which could produce an unbelievable round 2 matchup for Kenny Dillingham and his Sun Devils. On to the last bye, though. It's fairly obvious who I've got here from what I said going over the 3 seed, but I just see no way they jump Clemson over Boise State for this spot. 3 losses on the year compared to Boise's lone loss coming to the number 1 team in the nation just wouldn't make much sense to me. And Ashton Jeanty has earned that bye week for his team in what was yet another dominant performance over a pretty solid UNLV team Friday. I can't wait to see what he can do in round 2, where the Broncos are going to be drawing the winner of the 5-12 matchup in this scenario. But now that we got the top 4 settled, let's go ahead and move on to the first round matchups. And starting with the 5 seed, I think the 5 seed should and will go to the Texas Longhorns here. There shouldn't be a punishment for dropping a neutral site title game in overtime beyond missing the bye week. And as they were originally number 2, I think 5 makes perfect sense for Texas. As for their opponent, I think the committee should give the nod to SMU. I completely get the argument for Alabama because it's the SEC, but 3 losses, including 2 to Vanderbilt and Oklahoma, is just not a strong playoff resume, and SMU is just sitting at number 8 before this game. And although they got stomped on early, they made an incredible comeback and nearly sent that game into overtime. SMU's got the better record, both losses to top 25 teams, and one of them coming to a championship game to a playoff team. I think they do deserve that nod, and we should get an in-state battle in Austin for the right to play number 4 Boise State in round 2. Next is a 6 vs 11 matchup, and I've got Penn State taking on Clemson here. I think they go with Penn State over Notre Dame at this spot as both a punishment to Notre Dame for not being in a conference, as well as the fact that Penn State entered this week higher ranked and lost to the number 1 team in the country by just 1 single possession. Drew Aller has really broken out to me and looks like part of an NFL draft prospect that he was touted to be early on, and I think they have a great chance up against Clemson at home. This Tigers team has a great group and took down SMU to claim this playoff spot. And if this is indeed the matchup in Happy Valley, I would expect nothing less than an incredible battle between 2 coaches who could really use a playoff win this season. But now on over to the 7 vs 10 game. This is where Notre Dame comes in for me, and I think they're going to be hosting Indiana here. Indiana is pretty much guaranteed a playoff spot, and this would provide another in-state matchup in round 1 of the college football playoffs. It's a great test for the Hoosiers to go and prove again that they belong after failing the Ohio State test. And although this Notre Dame team has completely dominated lately, we know their playoff history, and Curt Cignetti's going to have his guys well prepared and ready to go. This would be a really exciting matchup in South Bend, and I think both of these teams are deserving their playoff spots, regardless of what any non-believers have to say about their season so far. Lastly, the 8 vs 9 matchup for the right to play Oregon in round 2. I've got Ohio State hosting Tennessee. Personally, I see both sides of the argument as to who should be hosting this game. Ohio State's loss to Michigan was much more than just embarrassing, but Tennessee's got a loss just as bad on the road at Arkansas. On paper, the Buckeyes are the better team for sure to me, though, and the committee did already rank Ohio State ahead of Tennessee, so I highly doubt we see any change there, as they said, which would mean the Buckeyes do get the home atmosphere on their side for a chance at a rematch against the Ducks in round 2. So there's my projected bracket for this year's college football playoffs as a whole. I'll have a prediction video coming out later on going over every game in detail, which will be separate from a bowl predictions video, which will also go up over every matchup that's not in the college football playoffs. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below on what you think the committee should do or will do, or your thoughts on any of these matchups as a whole. As always, thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.